Hi, I'm Jennifer Harrison. I'm a faculty member and field coordinator for the Kalamazoo office of Western Michigan University School of Social Work. And I'm very pleased today to be talking to you about, as field instructors and fellow social workers, about intern placement tracking, which is a software system that we use to guide field education from start to finish. So I want to just first of all say thanks so much for volunteering to be a field instructor. I've been a field instructor and worked with students in field, as well as, of course, being a student myself at one point in field. And it's a huge commitment and really something that you give to the profession and to the future of the profession. And also really specifically from Western Michigan School of Social Work, we appreciate you volunteering to mentor and teach and to be some of the most important supervisors and exemplars for the practice of social work that any of our students will have. I still think back to my field placements many years ago, and everything that I learned from my field instructors, and it was really just immeasurable in terms of launching my career. So thanks for that, and we're talking about the software program today. So I want to talk to you about how IPT works. Logging in, your field instructor detail, how you'll be able to view student assignments and forms, how you can upload documents, and then how you can be part of helping IPT to improve over time here at Western Michigan University and really like throughout the program. So first of all, this is actually the second full year that Western Michigan has been using intern placement tracking, which is, interestingly enough, a software system that was designed by the spouse of the field director at Brigham Young University's School of Social Work. So it's a wonderfully targeted software that's really specifically understanding the needs of social work as well as field education specifically. So I hope that we found that makes it a really easy to use and simple software program. It's available. It's a web-based software, so you can access IPT anywhere you can access a search engine, and it allows you to monitor students in field education from when they first apply for their field placement all the way till when they're done with their field placement. You will have a secure role with a username and password that you'll be able to enter, and that'll give you access specifically to some of the items that you need access to, but you won't have access to the entire system. And there are parts that students have access to, and parts that field instructors have access to, and part that faculty liaisons have access to. So it's a really nice flexible system in that regard. So when you're first logging on to IPT, the website that you'll use is www.runipt.com. If you are going to be supervising a student, it might make sense to bookmark that page for later use, because you'll be using it to sign off on forms and to look at the learning contract for your student throughout their placement. You'll log on by entering an organizational ID, which is WMISH, always, all lowercase. It'll actually pre-fill that the second and subsequent times you log in. We'll send you a first-time use username and password. So the username is kind of a funky alphanumeric name. You'll use that for the first use, and then you'll change it to whatever you'd like your username to be, your email address or your username in other systems. And then we'll send you a password again for first-time use only, which is IPT, all lowercase. And then you'll be prompted to change that after your first login. So you can change it to any password that you desire. We will not know what your password is, although we can reset your password for you, or you can reset it yourself. But we will never be able to log in as you. We'll be able to actually view your login if you need help troubleshooting, but we can't make changes to your account in the same way that you can. If you have any trouble logging in, feel free to contact us at any time, and we'll make sure to troubleshoot that with you. Also, if at any point you forget your username or password, there's this forgot your username or password button that you can click on, and the system can automatically send you a one-time password reset or username reset so that you can log on again and get unstuck. So let's talk about, this is the way your homepage will look like in IPT. So you'll notice at the top, there's our logo, and it'll say Western Michigan University, and then who you're logged in as. So at this point, in this slide, you can see we're logged in as Jane a test, which is one of our field instructor or field supervisors. That's a test field instructor that we have. And you'll have your home page and then your field instructor detail page. On the left-hand side, you'll see my forms. And you'll see here that in parentheses that Jane has 2 forms that she's ready to work on. So perhaps 1 form from 2 students or 2 forms from 1 student that she's ready for. If you want to change your password at any point, you can do so by clicking on Change Password. So on your field instructor information, you can add information about yourself, about the year that you were certified or licensed, the year that you received your degree. You can upload your resume. You can note any specialty training. So this is a really nice way, in the same way that you can go in and look at students that are assigned to you for your consideration. This is a way that students can really get to know the types of skills and expertise that their potential field instructors bring to the table. So you'll be able to upload all this information. You can upload a photo of yourself, which I'll show you how to do in a minute. And this is a really nice way for students to be able to look at what the diversity of their future as social workers might encapsulate. You can type in information or do this checkbox, and then there are some drop-down boxes that you'll be able to use so you can add information. You can also upload, like I mentioned, a picture of yourself, and also upload your resume, a copy of your license, a copy of your transcript if you choose to do so. So to upload a picture of yourself, which you can do or you don't have to do if you don't wish to, it's really nice for students to be able to put a name with a face as they're approaching their interview, though. And students also will have the opportunity to upload a photo of themselves. So to upload the picture, you just click on this upload picture icon, and then you can browse through your computer files to find the picture that you want. And then once you find it, then you click upload file and it'll upload that photo. You can also delete a current picture or upload a new picture. Like say you found a picture and then you said, oh no, that's not the right one, my eyes are closed. Then you can just browse again and upload the file and it'll replace the current photo that's there. So at the bottom of your field instructor detail are the students that are assigned to you within a given year. What we do is we actually pair a student with you, and when I say assigned, that somehow implies that we're just telling you which students you have, and of course you know that it's a whole selection process that's mutual in nature. So the students that are paired with you based upon your desires there. So when a student is paired with you for 1 semester for your consideration, then that student will appear at the bottom of your field instructor detail page and with their contact information, and then you can click on their name and you can access their student detail page, which is all of their demographic information, their resume and narrative, their self-assessment, their preferences in terms of what field organizations they are most interested in. And you can see here that this student happens to be a honey badger. So we don't have any students this year that are honey badgers, but we hope to include all of the mammals. So our student list, in order to view placements, as I said, when students are paired with you for 1 semester for your consideration, then we'll pair them, like let's say fall 2014. This student is paired with a test agency with field instructor A-Test Jane for consideration. And then when students are confirmed, so when you, after the interview, say, yes, I'd like to offer the student a placement, and the student says they'd like to accept a placement, then we will pair them for the 2nd semester with you. So they'll be paired with you for both semesters they're in placement, and you'll be able to see their contact information. So only after they're confirmed will they be placed for, will they be paired for both semesters. If there's anything that looks incorrect to you, like you see a student that you say like, no, I'm not paired with that student, or I should be paired with that student both semesters and I'm only paired with them for 1, let us know and we'll make sure to correct that. So your forms, when we're back at your home page, this is how you will access the forms for that you're working on with your students. And there's basically 3 forms that we're talking about. So there's the time log, there's a safety and orientation checklist, and there's the learning contract, which also acts as a learning contract as an evaluation tool. So anytime you click on My Forms, you'll see a list of all of the forms that you have for all of your students, and it'll note the form, the student name, etc. So you can click on that individual form and work on it. So I want to talk about the 3 different primary forms that are used in field and your role in that as a field instructor. So please keep in mind that all of these forms are really student-driven forms. So sometimes if a student says, well, my field instructor hasn't done my learning contract yet, I will, of course, clarify with them that it's their learning contract that the field instructor helps to edit and then evaluates their competency level on, but it's not the field instructor's learning contract, because all of you have already been through social work school, so you've already done your learning contracts. So this is the first form, which again, the student will start by filling out this information at the top, and then each day they're in field, they will add a date. They will do a check mark by the different competencies that they were working on, and then they will have this little like pencil and pen, or paper and pencil icon, so that they can add the specific tasks and activities that they were doing. And then they'll enter their start time and end time, and the system will automatically calculate their hours that day and then their total hours on an ongoing basis. This is in 24-hour time format, so keep in mind that this student started field on the 9th at 1400 hours, which is 2 p.m., and ended at 1630, which is 4:30 p.m. So they were in field 2.5 hours. And then the next day they were in field from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., 2 hours. So then they're at 4.5 hours. So this is really nice for a couple of reasons in terms of the way we've structured this time log. First of all, students can go through, and you as a field instructor can go through and see like which competencies are the students spending more of their time on, and which competencies, if any, are the students maybe missing out on spending a lot of time on. So there are things to really focus on for the remainder of the semester. The other thing is that, like for the first few weeks in field, students are really going to be shadowing or doing orientation, kind of like following you around every time you, everywhere you go. But after that, students will start to be assigned to specific activities or working with other people, other clients, etc. So there are going to be times where you may not be with them all the time. And so for them to delineate their tasks is a good way for you to know what's going on, even if they're not with you all the time. So all you need to do for this time log is to go through, and each day that they are in field, to go through either once a week when you're doing field instruction, or at least every other week, to go through an initial that you concur that these were the times they were in field. So when you go into your login, there'll be this little spot here where there's just place for your initial, and this is where the field instructor has already initialed off. And then at the end of the field placement, which is either 400 or 500 hours long, then we'll have verification that you agree that that time in field took place. This is the orientation and safety checklist, which again, the student will start by reviewing all of the areas that you have reviewed with them, or asking you to review with them if there are any areas that are missed, areas related to supervisory expectations, weekly field instruction time, etc., etc. And then they will click on here's a drop-down box, so they'll click on where it says reviewed, either reviewed, not reviewed, or not applicable. So once they go through their orientation process, which is in the first couple of weeks of field placement, then they should have either reviewed or not applicable beside each of these areas. And then at the bottom, and again, I'm sorry, there's a spot for student initials and field instructor initials at each section. So you'll only have to go in and verify, yes, we did in fact review all of these areas. At the bottom of the orientation and safety checklist, the student will list the physical address where they will be in field, and then the times that they will be in field. So this student, for instance, will be in field Mondays and Tuesdays from 9 to 5, and then Wednesdays and Thursdays from 4 to 6, it looks like. One of the things that occasionally we'll have student issues with is students that say my time in field or my schedule in field just depends. And in order for you to be able to assign them with regular tasks that replicate social work practice, the it just depends schedule is not an available option. So it doesn't matter to the School of Social Work whether the schedule is 8 to 5 Tuesdays and Fridays or 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Wednesdays and Saturdays, as long as it's something that you've agreed upon with your student and that meets the needs of your organization. All right, the learning contract is obviously the biggest form that's part of field education. And of course, again, this is a student-driven form, so the student will start to enter information about their placement, and then each competency, so there's 10 competencies, and then under each competency are practice behaviors, and then next to each practice behavior is an activity or products area. So that's where the student will begin to delineate what specific activities or products they will do in their field placement to demonstrate their competency in that area. So you'll see right down here where there's this little paper and pencil icon, the student will start out by adding an activity or product that specifically says, like, this is how I'm going to show anybody that would look in my portfolio how I am competent to identify as a professional social worker and conduct myself accordingly by advocating for the services of social work. So you can go in and edit or offer recommendations to your student based upon what they list as activities. Their faculty liaison will also do this, but again, this is a student-driven process. So they will, for BSW and MSW Foundation placements, they will have 43 different practice behaviors that they're going to have some activity that they're going to list on. Anytime you make an edit to the activity, the date added will update so that you always know what's the most recent version. The date completed is something that you or your student can add for the date a particular activity or practice behavior was completed. Some of those are going to be finite in nature, attend a training on gentle teaching. So once the student has attended that training, they can add the last training date. Some of those are going to be really kind of like softer concepts or fuzzier constructs. So for some of those, it might be that the date completed is the very last day of the placement. Like I said before, the learning contract also acts as an evaluation tool. So the students will give themselves a numerical evaluation on a 1 through 5 Likert scale, 1 being the worst and 5 being the best. And then you will evaluate their performance on that same 1 through 5 Likert scale. What we are hoping is that students are able to achieve a level of 3, which is emerging competence, at the end of the first semester, which is the halfway point of the placement, and achieve a level of 4, which is competence, at the end of the second semester. So for our students that are really grade conscious, I always reiterate to them that at the end of the first semester, a 3 is not a C, actually a 3 is an A on that particular assignment. It's your job as field instructors to accurately and substantively evaluate students on their performance. It's our job as faculty to convert that into a grade and give students a grade for the course, which includes the evaluation of their work in field, but also includes other assignments. This is where you'll be able to note either you or your student. I usually have the students do it, or sometimes as a faculty liaison, I do this. The 3 field visits and how the field visits took place, whether they were face-to-face, which is the most typical option, telephone, or via video conferencing or Skype, and then add any notes that, again, the 3 of you will all have access to. So if you made any changes or agreements or made a scheduling change, you can note that in the learning contract itself. And then here is how the learning contract looks once you've gone through the evaluation. So you'll note here that the student has self-evaluated themselves. The student gave themselves a 3 on a 1 through 5 scale. The field instructor indicated that they felt the student was performing at full competence, which is a 4. And then the field instructor added comments or narrative comments for the first semester and the second semester. And it looks like the student didn't add comments for the first semester, but did add them for the second semester. So I think our students really value both the numerical score values because they're quantitative in nature, as well as the qualitative narrative comments that you make about their performance in field. At the bottom of the learning contract is where the student, the field instructor, you as the field instructor, and the faculty liaison will all sign off on the learning contract at 4 different points. At the at the first part of the first semester, when the learning contract is in its first good draft form, at the end of the first semester with the first semester evaluation, at the beginning of the second semester when maybe you've made some changes in the learning contract, and at the end of the second semester when the final evaluation is done. What you'll do is click on in blue, which will be by your name when you're ready to sign, and then it'll allow you to type in. So it says click to sign completed document, then you'll type in your name, and it will note your name and then a date and time stamp of when you signed that document. To upload files anywhere in IPT. So again, I've been talking about this like paper and pencil icon. That means two things in IPT. One of them that it means is that you can edit, so you can type in a free text narrative, or the other thing that you can do is to use that to click on it to upload documents. So for instance, if you'd like to upload your resume to IPT, you click on that paper and pencil icon, and just like you were doing with the photo earlier, you select browse, select where your resume is on your computer, on your flash drive, and then once you click that, just click upload and it'll upload that file directly. If you needed to replace your resume, let's say, with an updated copy, then you just go again and it'll like overwrite your resume. So please make sure that emails that are coming from westernmichigan.edu are not going to your junk folder, because we'd hate to lose contact with you. And we've already, part of the reason why we're re-recording these tutorials is that we've already made changes in IPT based upon your feedback and the feedback of our students and faculty liaisons. But if you have more feedback on how we can improve this product or any part of field education, please let us know, because we really want to be useful as well as ornamental, and to make field education a success for all of our stakeholders. Want to thank some of our students and staff who really worked hard, particularly last summer, to initially implement our IPT product, which has been a big move forward in field education for us. And also, as I said, we want to be useful as well as ornamental. So please feel free to get a hold of any of us as field coordinators, or Michelle Adams, our support staff in Kalamazoo, or Rosemary Andrews, who is our graduate assistant in field education in Kalamazoo. And hopefully we'll be able to help you with making your field instruction experience really rewarding and one of the best parts of your job.